Tales of the Haunted. Along Lake Erie stands the Fairport Harbor Lighthouse. A merchant captain once kept over a dozen cats on the property to comfort his bedridden wife. Legend has it that after the felines died, a gray cat still roamed the grounds. Curators of the lighthouse claim to see the small gray creature vanishing through walls and rubbing up against their legs. Most scoffed at these tales until contractors made a grisly discovery in the walls: the mummified corpse of a long-dead cat.
The Bible was laying in between the kitchen and the dining room.
There weren't teeth marks in the Bible at all. There weren't even, it was just ripped. Like somebody just took the pages and ripped them. There's no way the dogs could have ripped that up.
Whatever was in that house was trying to let me know, don't come back here. God can't help you. We had to go back home. It was just too small of a place for all of us. Plus, we missed our animals. We had no other option but to go back home.
We really had nowhere else to go. My mom put everything she had into that house. When we were told we were going back to the house, it terrified me. I knew that once we were back in that house, it would be open game.
We lived in the living room. The dogs were right there with us. They slept on the couch with us, on the little pull-out couch. We all just lived right there.
We figured that if we all stayed together, that we'd be safer. I remember leaving the light on to go to bed. The dogs would be basically laying over us like blankets, almost like protecting us.
If we went to the bathroom, they came. If we went into the kitchen, they came.
It's like they didn't want you to be alone. It just didn't even feel like home to me.
I did major digging. The only thing that I could come up with was that William was one of the people that had owned the house. He had shot himself with a shotgun. It didn't say the address where this was done. It just said, you know, on our street. I just kind of wondered if this wasn't the house that he had shot himself in.
This house is very prominent when you look at it, but it's also prominent, I think, because of its history. It's tied in with some prominent families. William lived in that house. In 1924, William has a terrible day. He's going up to see Clara L., the mysterious Clara L. My understanding is that this Clara, she and William had dated a couple of times. The day ends in William committing suicide. I don't know what caused his suicide, but his suicide was fairly shortly after a date that they'd had.
My first thought was, boom, this is it. This is the guy that's haunting the house.
I do believe that if William was dating someone younger, someone around the 17 age bracket, and Cassie's now in this house at the age of 17, I could see where the spirit would be confused.
I find it kind of odd that Claire was the same age as me. Maybe that's why I was the one that all the anger was directed at, and that's why they targeted me.
We decided we were going to cleanse the house a little bit, do one of your basic smudgings.
Smudging is where you take sage and you billow the smoke throughout the house. Not only is the smudging a cleansing of the house, but it's also a cleansing of your spirit. We let the smoke billow throughout the house, and at the same time requested that whatever dark spirit leave the house at that point.
Leave now. I don't want you here anymore. I went from room to room with them, and I started more or less loudly, "This is my house. You need to leave. You need to get out. I'm not gonna let you chase me out of my home. This is my home. You are the one that has to leave."
We were all upstairs, and the last thing I remember is me getting really angry.
It was just like somebody flipped a switch, and she was someone different.
Amanda's like, "Look at Cassie." And I looked at Cassie and I went, "Honey, what's the matter with you?" And she looked up at me and she goes, "I don't know, I just feel angry."
That's when she got scary looking. Her eyes all of a sudden were like solid black eyes, and she's just rocking, staring at me.
That's when I realized she wasn't playing and just messing around.
We felt like imbuing that smoke onto her might cleanse that spirit from her.
As we started approaching Cassie with the smudging and the sage smoke, she changed. Her face changed, her demeanor changed. She started to grit her teeth and growl at her mother. And the closer we got, trying to smudge her with the sage smoke, the more violent she got. She started kicking, she started clawing.
In an evil voice, she said, "You leave, you get out, it's my house."